Hi, this is Roger in Finland, and today we're gonna take a look at the SLR Magic 25mm f1.1 Cine lens for Sony full frame mount. If you have seen my review of the 50mm f1.1 from SLR Magic, you know that I had a bit of a hard time finding anything about the brand. So it's based in Hong Kong, they build lenses in China and Japan, and then they are assembled and calibrated in Hong Kong. This is a 25mm lens and mounted on a full frame camera. This is a wide angle without getting into the ultra wide territory. If you mount this into an APS-C camera, this behaves like a 35-ish millimeters, which is a very useful and nice focal lens as well. Like the 50mm brother, the construction is all metal, it feels very solid, you definitely don't want anyone hitting you with it, but still it does not feel as well constructed as Voigtlander lenses, for example. Like the 50mm lens as well, it has geared focus ring and aperture ring, and my copy of the 25mm feels a lot better than my copy of the 50mm. The aperture ring is a bit smoother than my f1.1 50mm, but it's still nice and dampened. This one you're gonna have the same troubles as setting the aperture precisely, and then because the ring is very close to the camera body, for instance if you have it mounted into the A7 III with a small rig cage, I don't think you could mount any gears to control this aperture ring. So once again, the Cine branding is a little bit questionable here. The size is fairly similar to the 50mm, they weigh about the same, but this one is a little bit longer. So when mounted, for example, in the A6400, then it gets a little bit front heavy, and in this case I prefer to have it with the cage, or at least with the L bracket with the grip. That gives a little bit more balance to it. But still, it's definitely not a big lens, but it's a heavy one. Optically, it has 11 elements in 9 groups, and like the 50mm, 13 aperture blades. If we look at the sharpness, the lens is soft at f1.4 wide open, clearly not as soft as the f1.1, thank you for that, and it gets sharper a lot faster than the f1.1. I would say that at f4 the sharpness is already decent, and definitely after that this lens I would consider it definitely sharp enough. In the review with the 50mm f1.1 I was mentioning that it has this very dreamy look, which is a nice way of saying that it's soft as a baby bump, but this one does not have that dreaminess. It's still not as clinically sharp as some of modern lenses, but not as crazy soft as the 50mm brother. Talking about bokeh, with wider angles usually it's a bit more difficult to get out of focus areas in the background, but again this is an f1.4, it's not ultra wide, so it's definitely possible. Because of the 13 aperture blades, the bokeh balls are fairly round, and it's still not a crazy sharp lens, which makes them look pretty good to me. When it comes to focus breathing, once again it says Cine lens here in the body. It has the gears, it's all manual, it's all metal, but that's all the Cine you're gonna get. It does breathe. Not as much as the 50mm, but if that's something that matters very much to you, then steer clear of this lens. When it comes to the price, I was once again very lucky. I did find it second-hand for 150 euros, but if you find it new, it climbs easily above 400 euros or $400. For that price, I'm not sure if I would recommend it, but if you find it for 200 or less, this is a much better shopping than the 50mm, which was already pretty cool if you wanted that f1.1 and the dreamy, crazy look. Comparing it to the 50mm f1.1, which feels like a one-trick pony, this to me is a lot more versatile lens. It behaves better, it performs better. At 25mm it's a very nice focal length for video. At f1.4 it's pretty fast, and if you can find it for 200 euros or less, then I would definitely recommend to go for it. I would be very interested to compare this to the Meiki 25mm T2.2, which should be a little bit slower than this one, but it's built and branded more like a Cine lens, not just geared like this one, and I think that would be a fair comparison. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to get my hands into one of those, but these are the two lenses that I would say are in the same ballpark, price, features and specs wise. Do I like it or do I recommend it? Well, if you're looking for a manual wide-angle lens for your Sony cameras, especially if you have a full-frame camera, because that's one of the nice things of these SLR Magic CINE lenses. They are small, they are compact, and they cover a full-frame sensor, then I'd say go for it. It's a lot more useful than the 50mm f1.1, as in, it's not a one-trick pony. The other one you might like the dreamy look and the crazy aperture, but I think that this is a lot more usable lens. Alright, that's it for today. I'm very interested to hear if some of you own some of the other SLR Magic CINE lenses and how happy are you with them, and would you recommend them as well. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon for some more content.